Hi, everybody. Welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial, what I'm going to be doing is show you how to basically set up an app with React, with Webpack, and with Babel. And it's going to be a pretty quick video that just goes through exactly what to do to set this up from scratch. So I'm not going to use like create React app or anything else like that to do it. We'll do it all manually. If you want a deeper explanation of what I'm doing, I will link to a GitHub page I have on my own repository that you can take a look at, which explains some things in more detail. But this tutorial is going to be pretty quick. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a directory called app, which will house our app. We'll cd into it, and we're going to initialize this as an npm directory, just like that. And I'm going to open my text editor. I use Atom. Open it in this directory. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to install a couple of dependencies for Webpack. So npm install, it's going to be dev dependencies. I'm going to install Webpack dev server, and Webpack CLI. Go ahead and install those three. Okay, now that those dependencies are installed, open up the package.json file, get rid of some of this other stuff, and we're going to install another script here, or not install, we're going to define another script here. It's going to be a Webpack dev server. Point it to a configuration file called webpack.config.js. We haven't created that yet, but we will soon. And mode development by default, the mode defaults to production, which we don't want right now. Okay, so now that we have that, we're going to actually create our webpack.config.js file. And in there, we will, we're going to export an object representing our configuration. It takes a couple of things. It takes an entry array, and we will specify this as, the cord keeps getting in the way, source index.js. It'll work for now. It'll take an output object, and we're going to specify a path for that, which is dir name plus dist, and then a file name. We're going to call this bundle.js. And lastly, it's going to take a dev server object as well, and this one is going to have forget the name of it, content base. It's really hard to remember. Content base, and this is dist. Okay, so there we go. That's our Webpack config for now. We are now going to install. Actually, no, we're going to do a few other things. We're going to create two directories, the dist and source directories, which we've just referenced here in our configuration file. So we need to create those. And then we need to create the index.js file inside source. We'll go ahead and do that. And then in there, let's just put one thing, console.log, the requisite hello world. That back up. Okay, so we've created our source and index file. We've created the dist directory. The bundle.js file will automatically be created by Webpack, so we don't need to create that. That is all fine. What we do need to do, though, is since it's going to be serving files from the dist directory, the Webpack dev server will be serving files from this directory. We will need to create a index.html file in that directory for it to serve by default. So I'll whip up a quick HTML doc. Hello. Okay, so the important parts are going to be in the body here. There's going to be two tags. The first one is going to be a div with an ID of app. This will be the root of our React application here pretty soon. And then we're going to give it a script tag with a source pointing to bundle.js, which will be generated by Webpack. So we don't need to worry about creating that at all. So there's our HTML file that'll be served by Webpack dev server when we launch it. Okay, so we're going to now install Babel. Actually, before we do that, let's just do a quick test. If we do npm start, that'll run our command in package.json here that we created. And let's just make sure everything up to this point is working okay. If this succeeds, it'll output a, yeah, there it is, URL, localhost 8080. Go ahead and copy that, go to your browser, paste. I should see the example app up there in the title bar. And if you open up the console, you should see the words hello world in there as well. That means that our Webpack configuration is working properly. Okay, so let's go back to our stuff here. I'm going to kill the server. We're going to install Babel related dependencies now. So let's do npm install save dev Babel core Babel loader. Okay, so those are also dev dependencies there. I don't need to go into much detail about them here. The Babel loader is basically what makes Webpack and Babel work nicely together, and the Babel core is, of course, the main functionality that Babel provides in doing its compilation and transformations and all that. So it adds it to the dev dependency section here. So that's good. Now that we've done that, we need to install a number of presets that we'll be using. So we're going to do another install save dev Babel preset env, Babel preset React, and Babel preset stage 2. Okay, so that installs a number of presets. If you don't know what a preset is essentially a configuration that Babel uses when it applies transformations to files. And so each of these presets is an individual configuration that Babel takes into account when it does its transformations. For specifics on what those configurations do, that information is on the pertinent wiki pages online. Okay, we do need to edit the configuration file here for Babel, or for Webpack, I mean, to use this new Babel loader. So we're going to create a module which contains an array of rules, which we're just going to have one rule. The rule will apply to all files ending in .js or .jsx. So we have .js or JSX, and we want to the $sign there to indicate that it should end with that pattern. We're going to exclude everything in node modules, and then we're going to use, like I said, this is where we actually apply the Babel loader, just like that. Great. And then lastly, we need to create a new file called .babelrc. This will house our configuration for the presets. This is a JSON formatted file, so it looks like this. And then we're going to specify the 3 presets that we installed, which were env, React, and stage 2. So detail those there. So that should be it, all that we need for Babel. The last thing we need to do is install dependencies for React, which are production dependencies. So make sure not to do save dev, but to do -- save. And then we're installing React and React DOM. So while that's installing, since this is going to be a React app, I want to make a quick change. In your Webpack config, rename this source index.js to be .jsx. And then in the same way, in your source directory, rename that file to be .jsx, because this is now going to be a React file. And so since we've just installed React, let's delete the console statement that we had in this file, and we're going to import React from React and React DOM. And now we're going to define the simplest component known to man. We'll use a couple of ES6 features that are useful. There's our component, and then we're going to call React DOM.render, which takes 2 arguments. The first one is a component to render, which will be that hello component. We'll pass it a name. I'll give it my name. Like that, put a comma after it, and then we need to put this component in a node ID'd by app, which we specified in the dist index.html. We had the ID of app in here, and so that's just going to put this React element into that DOM node. Okay, so save that up, run npm start over in the console, and we shall see if we have everything set up properly. Okay, so it's starting up. So again, go back to your browser and localhost 8080. This says hello mark up there. It should say something similar for you. If you see that, then that means that your application is up and working with React, Babel, and Webpack. You should see if you have the React developer tools, you can click on that and see indeed that this is the hello component with the prop of Mark being passed in there. Cool, so we have everything up and working as it should be. Again, this is a very minimal implementation of React, Babel, and Webpack, but that should get you started. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please hit the like button and subscribe. I will be doing other videos like this and I'm taking recommendations if anybody has something they wish me to do. Thanks for watching.